Most people drive through Franklin County, Georgia, without realizing they're standing on the oldest post-revolutionary ground in the entire state. Not just old, not just historic. The first county Georgia created after breaking from Britain. And somehow, it never made the history books most of us grew up reading. That ends today. Franklin County sits in the northeast corner of Georgia, roughly an hour and a half north of Atlanta, bordered by the Blue Ridge foothills and the sprawling shoreline of Lake Hartwell. The county seat is Carnesville, a quiet, small-town courthouse community of only 500 or 600 people. The county itself runs about 23,000 residents, spread across small towns like Royston, Livonia, Cannon, and Franklin Springs. On a map, it looks modest. But the story underneath that map is anything but. This county was born from a negotiation and a war. In 1783, the Treaty of Augusta transferred lands from the Lower Cherokee to the new state of Georgia. 1 year later, on February 25, 1784, Georgia legislators carved out Franklin County from that ceded territory and named it after Benjamin Franklin, the diplomat, the inventor, the man whose backroom negotiations in Paris helped make American independence a legal reality rather than just a battlefield claim. The county was established before the U.S. Constitution existed, before there was a President of the United States. Franklin County, Georgia is older than the federal government itself. European explorer William Bartram had actually passed through this same land 11 years earlier in 1773, documenting terrain that was still firmly Cherokee country. The men who settled here afterward, Revolutionary War veterans like Job Bowers, who helped found the nearby town of Bowersville, were building something from scratch on ground that had been home to indigenous people for thousands of years. When Franklin County was drawn on that map in 1784, it wasn't the modest rectangle you see today. The original Franklin County was enormous. We're talking about territory that now contains Banks, Barrow, Clark, Jackson, Oconee, and Stephens counties, plus portions of Gwinnett, Hall, Hart, and Madison counties. And if that wasn't enough, the original boundary lines extended into what is now South Carolina, covering 3 counties across the state line. 1 county, 9 or 10 modern Georgia counties, 3 South Carolina counties, all of it Franklin County. Think about what that means. Athens, Georgia, home of the University of Georgia, was inside Franklin County when Thomas Peter Carnes represented the area in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1793 to 1795. Carnes was the man Carnesville was named after, a colonel in the Maryland line during the Revolution, later the Attorney General of Georgia, a state legislator, and a federal congressman. The county seat carries his name to this day. Over the following decades, that massive original territory was divided again and again as Georgia's population expanded, and Franklin County was slowly whittled down to its current footprint. But that original scale explains something important. This wasn't a forgotten backwater. This was the frontier engine of post-revolutionary Georgia expansion. The consequences of that shrinking boundary are written all over the landscape. What was once the organizing center of an enormous swath of northeast Georgia became, over time, a quieter agricultural county. For roughly 200 years, the economy here ran on cotton, corn, and sorghum, with livestock growing more prominent in the later decades. Mills lined the waterways, sawmills, grist mills, cotton gins. The town of Franklin Springs developed as a pre-Civil War health resort built around natural mineral springs, later becoming home to Emmanuel College after the Pentecostal Holiness Church acquired the property. The county adapted, contracted, and found its identity in the land itself rather than in the political weight it once carried. What Franklin County, Georgia is today is a place that holds its history quietly. Carnesville's 1906 courthouse replaced a more substantial 1826 structure, and nobody knows exactly where the original 1793 courthouse even stood. That location has been lost to time. Livonia carries a distinction almost no one knows. It is the smallest city in the United States with an original Carnegie Library building still standing. That library is still there, a Revolutionary-era mega-county now 23,000 people, a lake shoreline, a lost courthouse, and a Carnegie Library in a small Georgia town. The first is still the first, whether or not anyone remembers to say so. Georgia history is the kind of thing that keeps you up at night, and honestly, it should. Follow Georgia DNA. We're covering all 159 Georgia counties, and we're just getting started.